In this video, we're just going to practice using the coordinates on our unit circle to go forward and backward. Like if I give you a coordinate pair, can you tell me the corresponding angle, either in radians or degrees? So we're just going to practice that. It'll be a good little review for the coordinates that go around your unit circle. So for instance, if we start with this coordinate pair, and the question is, what is the degree measure of the angle that contains this ordered pair here? So we're looking for the angle that corresponds with this ordered pair. Well, we know it's a positive x and a positive y value, so that tells us that we're in quadrant 1. And at this point, you just have to know the coordinates that correspond here. So here we have a 30-degree angle, or a pi over 6. And for that angle, we have the coordinate pair square root of 3 over 2 and 1/2. So that's not the angle. If we move up to here, that's 45 degrees, or pi over 4. And, sorry, it's not really legible. There you go. And that is the square root of 2 over 2 and square root of 2 over 2. So it's not that one either. If we move up another increment here, now we're at the 60 degrees, or pi over 3. And that corresponds with 1/2 square root of 3 over 2. So there's our matching coordinate pair. So the angle that corresponds with this ordered pair or coordinate pair would be 60 degrees. And if we were asked for it in radians, we'd say pi over 3. Alright, so let's do it a little bit faster on this next one. It's the radian measure this time, given this coordinate pair. Now we have a negative x value and a positive y. So know that we're in quadrant 2. And now we got to think about the angle that corresponds here. 1/2 and square root of 3 over 2 would be a 60-degree angle. Or it would be pi over 3. And so we want the angle in standard position here. So the reference angle that gives us those coordinates is 60 degrees or pi over 3. But we want this angle right here, the angle in standard position. Well, if I know that if I get all the way over to there, I'm at 1 pi, and my reference angle is telling me that I'm at a third pi here, so I must be a third less than a full pi. So this is only going to be 2/3 pi, or 2 pi over 3. And so the question was in radians. What's the radian angle measure? That would be 2 pi over 3. If I wanted to think about it in degrees, well, that would be 60 less than 180. So I would be at 120 degrees. So just depending on what the question's asking, whether it's degree measure or radian measure, there they both are. Let's do a couple more. This time we're looking at a negative x and a negative y value. So we know our angle is going to be sitting in quadrant 3. And we want the angle that's in standard position. So this angle opens up all the way over to there. Well, if that's 1 pi there, and I know that my reference angle to give me these coordinates would be 45 degree or a pi over 4 angle measure. So if I was to answer this in radians, I would want a fourth more than 4/4, which would be a whole pi. So I know that this angle measurement that gives me these coordinates would be 5/4 pi, Or if I was to answer it in degrees, it would be 45 degrees more than 180. So that would be 225 degree angle measure. Alright, so those are the angles that correspond with those coordinate pairs. Let's do one more. So the angle in radians or degrees that corresponds with this angle or coordinate pair. Well, we have a positive x and a negative y. So our last example is going to take us into quadrant 4, where there's a positive x and a negative y value. So somewhere over here is going to be our angle. It's going to be in standard position, so it's going to be that measurement. And I want my reference angle to correspond with these values, so that would be a 60 degree angle, or a pi over 3 again. So if I want it in standard position, that's going to be the angle that measures all the way around here. So if I subtract it from 2 pi, because that would give me all the way around the circle, and so I must be a third less than 2 pi. So if I want to think about this in terms of thirds, that's 6/3, that's equivalent to 2 pi, right? So if I want a third less than 6/3, I must be talking about 5/3 pi. If I want to answer it in degrees, well, over here is 360 degrees, and I'm 60 degrees less than a full circle, so I must be talking about a 300 degree angle. Alright, so those two angle measures correspond with these ordered pairs or coordinate pairs right there. Alright, so just a little practice using the unit circle, thinking about coordinates and angle measurements that correspond. Hopefully you can use that to kind of help you review the unit circle.